at the end. And the story is called The Sukkah of Rabbi Pinchas. Everyone loved Rabbi Pinchas. Wherever he went, he was surrounded. As he walked briskly to synagogue early on Shabbat, his students would catch up with him to try and acquire a morsel of learning. As he sat in the synagogue praying, children would come and sit on his lap. When he rose to teach, the synagogue was packed, and when he went home, a dozen women with a dozen kugels were waiting for him. "Taste this kugel, Rabbi. Give me your blessing." What could he do? He carefully tasted all 12 kugels, savoring the love that was baked in each one. Then joyfully he pronounced 12 blessings. "May your life and the lives of your children be as sweet as this wonderful kugel." On holidays, even more people came, especially on Sukkot. Sukkot is called Zman Simchatenu, the season of our joy, and no one's sukkah was more filled with joy than the sukkah of Rabbi Pinchas. His students filled the sukkah with learning, the community brought delicacies and treats for the feast, and children filled his sukkah with laughter and song. And it was always said, if you haven't celebrated in the sukkah of Rabbi Pinchas, you don't know true joy. But despite all that love, Rabbi Pinchas was bothered. He knew that a great rabbi must write a book. Only if he wrote a great book would he be remembered as a great rabbi long after he was gone. Rashi wrote great books. Rambam wrote great books. To be great, Rabbi Pinchas knew he needed to write his own great book. But how? He had no time to sit and write his great book. He was always taking care of somebody, answering somebody's question, offering someone a blessing. He was always being the rabbi. When could he sit alone and write his book? As time went on, this problem nagged Rabbi Pinchas. So one Yom Kippur, Rabbi Pinchas prayed a strange prayer. "Take all these people away from me. Day and night they pester me. Day and night I listen to their needs. Give me quiet, give me peace to sit and write my book. Let no one bother me." God heard the strange prayer and asked Rabbi Pinchas, "Is that what you really want, to be alone?" "Yes," responded the rabbi. "Let me be in peace to write my book." "Very well," God answered. "Your prayer is fulfilled." When Yom Kippur was over and the shofar sounded, no one invited Rabbi Pinchas to break the fast. There were no crowds of people, no platters of food, no plates of sweets and treats to fill Rabbi Pinchas's home after Yom Kippur. Instead, Rabbi Pinchas walked home alone, sat in his house alone, broke his Yom Kippur fast with a piece of dry bread, and wrote the first page of his great book. The next morning, the townspeople were busy putting up their Sukkot for the coming holiday, and Rabbi Pinchas waited for the men of the town to come with their tools and help him put up his sukkah, but no one came. So late in the afternoon, he tried to erect the sukkah himself. He smashed his fingers, hammering the nails, dropped a heavy board on his toes, stuck himself with a thorn when he lifted up the schach, the top, the leaves for the sukkah's roof, and hurt his back, dragging his table into the sukkah. But eventually, his sukkah was finished. It was crooked, it was ugly, but it was finished. And for the next 3 days, Rabbi Pinchas wrote and rewrote that first page of his great book. Just as he requested of God, he was alone. No one bothered him. Soon his house was so quiet he couldn't stand it. He went out for a walk and no one said hello to him. No one stopped to ask him a question. No one asked for a blessing. No one asked for his help. No one. The first night of Sukkot arrived, and Rabbi Pinchas sat in his sukkah alone, and no one came to celebrate. No one brought treats. No children, no laughter, no song. It was too quiet. Rabbi Pinchas ran out to the street. He went looking for someone, anyone, to share his sukkah, but no one would come. How can I sit in a sukkah alone? What kind of festival is that? Rabbi Pinchas asked himself. So he prayed the mystical Ushpizin prayer, inviting the holy ancestors to share his sukkah. May our father Abraham come and share my sukkah. And miraculously, the shining presence of Abraham appeared, but he would not enter Rabbi Pinchas' sukkah. He stood outside near the door. So Rabbi Pinchas prayed again, may our father Isaac come and share my sukkah. And the shining presence of Isaac came, but he too stood outside. Rabbi Pinchas prayed for our father Jacob, for Moses, for Aaron, for King Solomon and King David, and miraculously they all appeared, their mystical light filling the yard, but they would not enter Rabbi Pinchas' sukkah. They stood outside. Rabbi Pinchas was desperate now. The loneliness was driving him mad. Where my children, So he prayed one more time, and he asked God to visit his sukkah. And God responded to Rabbi Pinchas' prayer and said, where my children are not welcome, I'm not welcome. And Rabbi Pinchas began to cry. And he threw himself down on the ground, and he wept. And he prayed aloud, I'm sorry, I think I made a terrible mistake. Bring my people back to me. Bring back my friends. Let them come and fill my life again, please. And God heard the strange prayer again and asked Rabbi Pinchas, is that what you really want? You know they'll bother you until the day you die, and you may never write your book. Yes, responded Rabbi Pinchas. Let them come and bother me and pester me all that they want. Let them come and fill my life with all their needs. They are my blessing. Just bring them back. I need them. Very well, your prayer is fulfilled. And before Rabbi Pinchas could even pick himself up, there was knocking on his door. The whole town had come to his sukkah. The townspeople came and fixed the crooked, ugly sukkah. They brought platters and treats for the feast. They brought learning, they brought questions, they brought laughter and song, they brought life. And Rabbi Pinchas enjoyed every minute of it, every question, every request for a prayer or a blessing, every child's song, joy. And he enjoyed that Sukkot more than any of the ones before, and the next year he enjoyed Sukkot even more. And except for that very first page, Rabbi Pinchas never wrote his book. But he's remembered for his joy. So, I just wanted to say that Sukkot is a harvest holiday. And as all of you did before, you said what you were joyful about and what you're grateful for. And I want to say what I'm grateful for. So, many years ago, before I came here, I felt that there was always more important work to do, and that people were always interrupting me with phone calls, with getting sick, with needing me to come to the hospital, with questions of all kinds, by stopping off unannounced into my office. And I always felt like it was taking me away from something that I really had to do. But then I came here, and you have all taught me to love the opportunity for connection and how easy it is and how much better it is for me as a rabbi to just love on you and be joyous with you and be sad with you when that's what it is. So even though I'm exhausted and feel like I want to tell you all to leave me alone for a little bit, because this holiday thing is a marathon, I am joyful that my life is filled with all of you. Joyful. And I enjoy every moment that I get to stand on this bima. And I enjoy every moment that you drop in unannounced, even when I think I'm too busy. I'm really not too busy. And I love when I get to visit you in the hospital, and I love sitting with you and singing, and I love it when the kids come and sit in my lap, and I love every part of what I do here. And sometimes it makes me feel exhausted, but I think that really I should change that word to full. I feel full because of all of you. So thank you for being my harvest of spiritual wealth. Amen. That's it. That's what I've got tonight. I invite you to join me on the back cover of your prayer book where there's an alternative Aleinu that we like to use that reminds us not how separate we are from everybody else, but actually how we are all here to serve the whole thing and fix everything. So please rise and let us leave knowing that that is our job. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer bereshit, shehu asanu l'shomrei ha'adama, vehu samanu lishlichei ha'torah, shehu sam chayenu itam, vegor aleinu im kol ha'olam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Our thoughts turn now to all of those who have departed, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and our neighbors have lost, and the martyrs of our people, whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives are a blessing to humanity. We mention by name these taken from us in recent days: Hilda Daly, grandmother to Buffy and Jeffrey Skolnick, and great-grandmother to Matilda, and dear sisterhood member Rona Kappelman. As well, we acknowledge the yard sites, the anniversaries of the passings of Rebecca Diamond, Morton Farrer, Bernie Freiken, Rachel Gershon, Morton Gluckman, Joseph Gold, Jean Nofel, David Levin, Darrell Miller, Marvin Randolph, and Eugene Shockett, and those who might be remembered in the live stream, and if there are names here in the sanctuary that you'd like to share in memory, I invite you. Yeah. If you're here remembering a loved one or in mourning, I invite you to rise so that we might acknowledge you. And I invite the congregation to turn with you to page 294 to stand beside you as we all join together in the Mourner's Kaddish, grateful for the gifts of life and memory. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayei chon u'v'yomei chon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman karib imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudashah brichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
May I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life. May I suggest this time is blessed for you. This time is blessed and shining almost blinding bright. Just turn your head and you'll begin to see the thousand reasons that were just beyond your sight. The reasons why I suggest to you, why I suggest this is the best part of your life. This is a song, comes from the west to you, comes from the west, comes from the slowly setting sun, with a request of you, to see how very short the endless days will run. And when they're gone, and when the dark descends, we'd give anything for one more hour of light. And that is why I suggest to you, why I suggest this is the best part of your life. May I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My name is Shannon Tuck, and I'm representing the CBHT Board of Trustees this evening, and I have a few announcements to share. Sunday morning is our consecration service for new students in our religious school, grades kindergarten through third grade, and everyone is invited. The Community Simchat Torah celebration is a collaboration of all the Jewish organizations and will be hosted at the JCC this Sunday at 5:30 p.m. There will be workshops, refreshments, singing, and Torah readings. Tuesday the 18th at 5:30 is the informational meeting with Rabbi and Joshua Cantor about the Peru trip in June of 2023. Come if you think you might like to venture to Peru. Next Saturday night, the 22nd, our engagement committee will host a parents' night out for 6 to 12-year-olds. Pizza, Havdalah, games, and crafts. Registration link is in your Tuesday email. Adult education with Rabbi Meiri is scheduled to start later this month, October 30th. Again, information in your Tuesday email about signing up. And then thank you also to Lanny and Linda, there you are, for sponsoring tonight's Oneg. Happy anniversary. And Oneg reminder, please wait until we all gather, say Kiddush and Motzi before diving in. Shabbat Shalom, and see you all in Dave Hall for the Oneg.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Shannon. Please rise on page 321. We're doing the Adon Olam, a long, rousing Adon Olam.
Yeah.
It's
Rouse
fun.
with us. Yes.
This used to be called the Asheville Adon Olam, but then we learned it's actually Shlomo Carlebach. So there you have it.
Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'ed nasa v'chetzo kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu hayeh ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yiyeh b'tifera ve'hu echad le'sheni lehamshilo le'achmira beli reshi beli tachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'ha'misra ve'hu eli ve'chai go'ali ve'tzur chemli ve'etzara ve'hu nisi umanosli ve'natosi be'yom legra ve'yado avki ruchi ve'edisha ve'aira ve'ibruchi yeviati Adonai li ve'lo ira Yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la yalla la 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 yalla la la Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom Yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.